Hello viewers and welcome to this week's edition of Economics 101. In this program, we invite economists as well as economic analysts to give a general overview of the economy as we speak right now. We are talking of conflagration, turmoil, real despondency and alarm with regards to the exchange rate. And generally the outcome of this is the people of Zimbabwe suffering from unjust price increases in the economy. The great question of the day is what can be done to redress this economic wrong that has ravaged many households and ordinary Zimbabweans. Is this now the order of the day, or measures have been put in place so that morals instead of profiteering take the lead and precedence? Now in studio today we have invited another economic analyst who is Honorable Dr. Matthew Nyashanu, who is an economic analyst as well as the chairman of the Portfolio Committee on Budget, Finance and Economic Development. It's a pleasure to have you, an honorable pleasure, honorable member, to have you in studio today.
Thank you for having me.
Most definitely. And
Yes.
Giving us a brief overview of our economy vis-a-vis the exchange rate, what can you say is the strain to this very, very serious strain in the retail sector?
I can say our economy has shown quite high resilience over years. We are an economy that is coming from a period of COVID. We have been affected by COVID like many other countries. We have also been affected by Cyclone Idai like many other Southern African countries. The recent shocks that we have experienced are as a result of the low inflows of foreign currency into the market. Citizens may be aware that we are a country that is not accessing international credit on the credit market. And naturally, when we experience low inflows into the market, into our economy, we normally have a recourse to international credit by way of balance of payment support. But unfortunately, this is not forthcoming as of now because of the challenges that many might be aware of.
What are these challenges, if you don't mind me asking? Because I don't mean to rebut anything you're saying, but we do have specific arrangements that are within some of the sectors within government, as well as mega deals, so to speak, that have been taking place in the Second Republic. What we know for a fact as well is an appreciation of some of the relationships we have with some of these banks. So can you specifically say that it's predominantly low inflows, and what can you say about that particular side of things?
All I'm aware of is that as a country, we are unable to access international credit. And as a result, when we experience such shocks of low inflows in terms of foreign currency, we have no immediate recourse to say, where else can we get foreign currency to fill in the gap? As you are aware that Reserve Bank may be able to manage on the supply side, but may not be able to understand the demand side. They are aware that they want to use so much in terms of imports, but they may not be able to know how much is required for value preservation.
Absolutely.
Our people are, upon receipt of RTGS, are quickly moving into the market to secure USD. And that process has its own consequences.
Oh, yes.
So those are the challenges that we're experiencing.
So can we say within these challenges, I do remember about 2 years ago, 3 I think, we sat in front of Parliament after we had a very good conversation on national television once again, where we were speaking about the 2021 budget being presented by our Honourable Minister of Finance. And this is something that we hadn't projected at the time. In fact, there was much stability with regards to the rate. But now what can we attribute? You did mention challenges, but many of the Zimbabweans are challenged once again because of this sharp rise in commodities. What are we attributing to this problem that we're facing as Zimbabweans now?
Much of it is to do, at the center of our problem is discipline. As you heard the minister saying, there are those economic saboteurs. Well, I mean, upon examination, you would realize that there could be elements within our market, within our economy, that are also deviating from real principles of doing business. And those are some of the challenges. So at the center of our problem is an issue of discipline, is also the issue of trust. And I want to also say there are also elements of confidence in the process, because you have our people having RTGS, they don't keep it, but they rush to change it into USD.
Burning, as they call it.
Burning, as they call it.
Yes.
Which I want to believe is an issue of trust and confidence. And
So can you say these individuals are the saboteurs, the profiteers that should be brought to book? And if so, these amongst many of the people, who are these people, and is there laws that are being put in place to make sure that such things are not happening and also destroying our economy in the long run?
I don't want to use the word saboteurs personally, but I want to say what we need to do is to be able to work with these people and create some kind of confidence, some kind of trust within the economy, so that we can work together to make our economy work.
Are there laws in place that are fighting some of these people who are profiteering off this current economic climate?
The banking laws themselves do prohibit this kind of behavior. What is important is implementation. But at times upon implementation, they don't really want to use a lot of force. But this persuasive, this moral suasion kind of approach is what is constructive, you know, when you look at financial markets. Because when you use the fist, you may, at the end of the day, scare a lot. So I think I agree with what the minister is doing. I also agree with the RBZ governor, what he's doing in terms of approaching this problem.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll take a look at what is happening between governments and businesses as we continue this conversation on Economics 101. In studio, we are joined by the chairman of the Portfolio Committee on Budget, Finance, Economic Development. That's Honorable Dr. Nyashanu. And my name is Kurtley Gundi. This is Economics 101. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for staying with us, viewers, here on ZBCTv. Now, we are taking an interrogation of the current rise in climate with regards to our economy here in Zimbabwe. And to help me unpack this conversation as well as get a contribution from an economic analyst perspective here on Economics 101 is Honorable Dr. Nyashanu. Thank you so much for staying with us, sir. Let's talk government and business. Who can you say is in control of this entire matrix? Also considering that there is a rift between the two, and at the same time, yes, we talk of a symbiotic relationship, but is it really true that that is what is happening on the ground?
I don't want to believe that there is a rift, but I think there is scope. There is scope for business. There is scope for government and business to work together to ensure that what is prevailing in the market can be put under control. Government has a role to come up with policies. Which policies government, the private sector, the business sector must also be able to follow, so that they work together for one goal, which is the development of our economy.
Okay. Absolutely, and let's talk about perhaps that's a very, very sturdy answer. But we would also like to know from you, and maybe much of our viewers would want to have an appreciation of what your view is from your standpoint. If we get into full dollarization, yes, we do understand that as the Zimbabwean economy, an identity is important, and with regards to also trading in our local currency gives us some kind of ownership. But is it something feasible if we then say from perhaps tomorrow we are going to be using the US dollar strictly and do away with the RTGS?
We have been dollarized before. It's a road that we have traveled. And I don't think that road is good for us at all. I think the road that we are traveling today is correct. We just need to work towards strengthening our local currency, making sure that we also do our best on the production side. It is production that strengthens the value of a currency.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to work on our production,
Okay.
particularly, I must say, in the agricultural sector.
Okay.
There is an opportunity in the agricultural sector to do more for us to be able to strengthen our currency.
Yes, because earlier
Particularly-
I was citing some of the
Yes.
manners in which we would like to believe we get our foreign currency, which is agriculture, which is mining, which is the typical backbone of perhaps our economy and many African countries. But at the same time, can you say that the income is low right now in those sectors to the extent that our US dollar is not as fluid, it's not moving as fluidly as it should?
US dollars as it is as a currency is too strong a currency. You hear even President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, saying, why don't we have our own Pan-African currency so that we are able to deal with our own situation here in Africa, other than having this imported currency which is too hard on us.
Oh, yes. And
So
I would like to believe, yeah, because that's something that Professor Lumumba always very much reiterates in much of his content that we get to bump into on social media. How can you say this is something that can work? Who's responsible for coming up with this scheme? Because right now we are here because we want solutions. We're here, we're trying to make a conversation around working for a better Zimbabwe. Is it the Pan-African Parliament? Is it our parliament? Do we propose it? We know we have Chief Charumbira who's in power, who's able to sometimes voice some of these concerns to people who are within the continent. How best can we move forward with that idea?
Going straight into our challenge, which we are facing as Zimbabweans, I'm sure Treasury and the monetary authorities, which is RBZ, you know, in terms of the measures that they've come up with in the last 2 weeks and in the last few days, we will be able to see our economy on course.
Okay.
I want to have faith in those measures.
Okay.
Because I see light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yes.
So the 5th of June, you've just recently spoke about a current affairs matter that I was perhaps going to engage you on. We did see government announcing the rise in the auction rate. I think we're now standing at about 3,700 RTGS dollars as is to $1 US dollar, which is quite a fascinating arrest with regards to the inflation rate. As an economist, what are your sentiments with that recent development that did come through?
First of all, let me make a correction there. It is not government that announced the 3,600 rate.
It's the RBZ.
The 3,600 rate is a price discovery rate. It came as a result of price discovery on the auction.
Okay, okay.
So it's a result of the bids that were, you know, floated on the auction.
Okay, okay. So would you say, what are your sentiments on that? Thank you for that correction, but what would you say your sentiments are on that particular rise? I think, I
think the movement itself of the official rate to 3,600 is good for us.
Okay.
Because we have had players in the market. We have been speculating. You know, there have been, you know, those of us who have been, you know, taking advantage of arbitrage opportunities in the market.
It's a rise. It's not a decline.
Yes.
It's a rise. But at the same time, with these rises, civil servants, individuals who earn their full salary in RTGS aren't getting that rise. So what would you then say as an economic analyst to the everyday Zimbabwean who's watching us and perhaps won't understand what this matrix means? Because you're saying it's good. At home, they may be saying it's bad.
Agreed. It is not good for individuals at home. It is not good for workers. And I think that's a separate subject.
Okay.
Which needs attention on its own.
Okay.
That workers need to be cushioned under the circumstances. You cannot expect someone who was earning 3,600 RTGS last week to be earning it today.
That's very true.
Yeah, that will be irrational. That will be out of order. And I think some measures have to be taken to cushion the worker under the circumstances. But all I was trying to explain is that, you know, the movement of the official rate from about 1,800
Yes.
to 3,600 is good in the sense of trying to stop arbitrage opportunities in the market.
Okay.
There are those many other firms and individuals, people even at private enterprises, who have been surviving on arbitrage opportunities.
Oh, yes.
That they would get forex in the official market and then use it elsewhere for arbitrage, for speculative tendencies.
All right. Thank you very much for that clarification there. And from an economic analyst point of view, you are still watching Economics 101, your program that gets to track Vision 2030 as well as a very, very succinct look at some of the issues that are affecting our gross domestic product here in Zimbabwe. My name is Kurtley Gwindi. Please stay tuned. Thank you very much, viewers, for staying with us here on Economics 101, coming to you live on a ZBCTv. Now, we are interrogating all issues to do with the current rise in the inflation rate here in Zimbabwe. In studio, I am joined by Honorable Dr. Matthew Nyashanu, who is the chairman for the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Budget, Finance and Economic Development. Now, very fascinating, your title, sir. We will talk about the budget that Zimbabwe has put aside. But before we get into that, we want to know, in your view, currently, like we did agree that it's a matrix, that something is happening within our economy. Is there someone who is trying to manipulate this whole system using the economy? There was a recent headline that said that there was a headline that businesses are pulling the government down. In your view, is this what is happening on the ground? And if so, in what ways?
I don't rule that out, but at the same time, I'm also not one person who believes in this blame game.
Okay.
I believe that we have a collective responsibility,
Yes.
business and government put together, to work towards making sure that our economy works. For those who would want to sabotage the economy, one would want to ask for what benefit.
Okay.
Because, I mean, all of us, our children, our relatives, go into supermarkets.
We were talking arbitrage earlier on,
Yes.
and is it not those those people, the arbitrators, so to speak, who have interest in doing that?
When arbitragers, engage in their businesses, they don't do it as a way of sabotage.
Yes.
To them, it's business.
It's business, absolutely.
It is us who have to take deliberate measures to stop them. One by way of legislation, one by way of regulation, or by way of engagement, which is purely moral suasion.
Absolutely.
Where RBZ should be involved in engaging such parties so that there is order in the financial services market.
So is it RBZ or is it government? Because we know that government is responsible for policy, and all that we can safely say, or can we say, that government has failed us as the people of Zimbabwe, and as of now, especially looking at the typical case in point, which is our price of basic commodities in Zimbabwe.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is an agent of government.
Yes.
It is the banker to government, charged with the responsibility of the monetary policy, coming up with the monetary policy.
Which is formulated by government.
It formulates the monetary policy.
All right.
But of course directed by government, because the minister is in charge of RBZ.
And your committee in particular is also particularly
It takes oversight role on both Treasury and RBZ.
Okay.
But you were asking me there to explain the role of RBZ in this whole process.
Yes.
Where I was saying, in terms of the management of exchange rate, it is the sole responsibility of RBZ. It is part of its responsibility to manage the exchange rate.
Okay. And with regards to agreeing with this adage that is being put across, that government has literally not come through as much as it should have, and at the same time, are we agreeing as well that businesses are the ones that are pulling down government? Or government is pulling down businesses, which is which?
Earlier on, I indicated, Ketley, that I don't want to delve into issues of blame game.
Yes.
I want to believe that government, business people put together, they can find a solution for these challenges. There are many other challenges that the country is facing, which I think the government together with business can still be able to solve.
Okay. You are at the helm of a portfolio committee that is very integral to the issue and matter we're discussing today, and we would like the answers from people like you, because we do believe once again that we come also with solutions once discussed, and perhaps the general people in the streets are calling for the reintroduction of the US dollar. And you did mention that we have been down that road before. But as someone who we are saying we're discussing solutions, what can you say should be our next step with regards to relation of currency?
You see, our economy has gone through, quite a number of, challenges over years. And some of the prescriptions that we may start talking about have been prescribed before. But I think it takes us to get to understand, that we need to build good relationship between business and government.
And government, okay.
To ensure that we solve problems together. I think that's what is important. Yes, we can blame each other, yes. But at the end of the day, we may not be able to realize the kind of answers that we want, and the kind of economy that we want to build. I want to insist that we can be able to work together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And with regards to working together, the pros and cons of preserving our local currency, as well as the pros and cons of going full dollarization. Maybe you can just break that down for us as we wind up this conversation.
We have been fully dollarized before. And at one point, somebody had thousands of US dollars in the bank,
yes,
but could not access them. You go to the bank, you could not find the notes. We have been there before.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we cannot keep doing what has failed.
Oh, yes.
I want to believe the road that we are walking today is the correct path, given our circumstances. I've tried to explain that when you want to compare Zimbabwe, compare it to a country in comparable circumstances.
Okay.
A country that is in our situation, a country that's facing the same challenges like us as Zimbabweans, that you would also point to that country and say, this country is also under Zidera.
And do you have a specific country that you can say Zimbabwe can be quoted to in this regard?
No, we are in our unique circumstances.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you mentioned sanctions are also part of the issues that we're
even
facing?
the set of sanctions.
Okay.
I want to believe that there are countries that are under OFAC as well, the Office of Foreign Asset Control.
Yes.
There are countries that are under that, but which countries are under Zidera? You see? So we are in unique circumstances.
Okay.
And as we get compared to other countries, let those who compare us to countries in comparable circumstances.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Honorable Matthew Nyashanu there, who has come through with some contribution with regards to what we are facing as an economy right now in Zimbabwe. Like I said, here on Economics 101, economic analysts do come through, and those who have a perspective with regards to all things that contribute to the Second Republic's gross domestic product, as well as what we are achieving with regards to the economic front in Zimbabwe. Now, this has been another exciting episode, and we look forward to enlightening you same time, same place next time here on ZBCTv. My name is Kurtley Gwindi, and pleasant viewing.
ZBC News, the real African voice.